The SpyCloud Active Directory Guardian integration allows customers to detect and remediate exposed passwords in their Active Directory environment. It does this by comparing the exposed credentials that SpyCloud is aware of that are associated with our customer's enterprise through the enterprise watch list to those passwords that are being used in Active Directory. The most common use case for Active Directory Guardian is to run a scheduled scan on a daily or perhaps less frequent weekly basis. Let's take a look at how to do that. When you're creating a schedule, you'll give it a name. In this case, we'll call it daily scan. You give it a frequency. There's some other options here, but we're going to choose every day. And we're going to choose a start time for this. We're going to run it at 2 a.m. so as not to affect network access for other users. So that's at a quiet time during the network. And then also that's going to allow the report to run and be able to show up in our inbox in the morning. The next thing to look at is the SpyCloud breach records. We allow you to determine how far we go back in our breach catalog when we're comparing passwords against AD. The recommendation for the most secure scan is to run all records. And that is because, as we all know, users are creatures of habit and will often reuse passwords, even sometimes several years after they first use them. The next option is to choose what directory to scan. In this case, we're going to scan local Active Directory. We also allow for the scanning of Azure Active Directory, but for this demo, we're going to concentrate just on local Active Directory. And for most of our customers that are running in a hybrid mode, scanning the local Active Directory is what most of them will choose to do. As part of scanning local Active Directory, there are some options here to diminish the number of accounts we scan by skipping disabled for accounts that already have expired passwords, or by even going to a more advanced option and actually configuring inclusions and exclusions that allow us to scan only a portion of your network by excluding or including, or both, certain segments of users. On the next page, we're going to determine what types of scans we're going to do, and those are broken up by match types and audit types. For match types, this is looking at what types of password matches we're going to do. Exact matches is always on by default because that's the biggest thing we're trying to stop, right? Exact password matches that relate to breach records. We also can optionally then turn on a check for a banned password list, which is actually configured over here on the left under banned passwords. We can also check for fuzzy matches. This will apply certain variations to the exact and the banned password list to actually look for common variations on passwords. And then the last option here is to check against all known compromised passwords, which actually is used to compare any passwords in Active Directory to our entire corpus of passwords in SpyCloud's data set. Now, this next option here is to set remediation. Now, out of the box, there's only a forced password reset automation, but we can actually, through the create remediation policy button here, create our own if we want to. For now, we're going to keep it simple and just force a password reset for any of these 3 types of matches. And for this 4th type of match, we won't do any remediation, but we will look at the results when they happen and decide if there are any users that we do want to do a password reset. And I'll show you how we can do that manually later. Additionally, we're going to check for shared passwords from an audit perspective. This is going to go and look for users that are sharing the same password by comparing the hashes, but not necessarily knowing what the password is. And then last but not least, we'll want to configure email settings to send out any emails should there be any failures, or hopefully a completion email that goes out when the scan completes, and that will allow us to be able to look at the results in our inbox when we come in the morning after the scan runs in the middle of the night. So you'll go ahead and save those, and you can see the schedule's been saved. There's the schedule. It'll run every day at 2 o'clock. And that's the most common use case. Now, we're not going to wait around until 2 o'clock now. So let's go ahead and take a look at a scan that was run previously. And it's important to point out you can run manual scans as well. And that's what we're going to take a look at, an ad hoc manual scan that was run earlier. Okay, now within a scan report, you're going to get these high-level statistics showing the number of AD accounts scanned, how many credentials were compared against, and how many matches there were. There's a way to filter the matches, and there's also a way to see what actions were taken. For all these exact matches, you can see that our policy took effect and we reset the passwords. However, if we go down here and look at these password-only matches, we'll see no action was taken, and that's because we set that up so that when the scan ran for any of those passwords that match in password-only and not in email, that these are going to be highlighted for us. So we could choose at this point to go ahead and remediate these by applying that forced password reset remediation policy. Okay, and we can also clear the filter to go back to the standard view. The other thing I want to show you here is that there's an export button to export this as a CSV, and also that we can look at audit results. In the audit results, I want to show you one thing in particular here, and that is that we have an employee that looks like he's using the same password across both the regular account and the admin account that are under his control. And that's actually one of the reasons the shared hash password report is such a valuable thing, because it can let you identify those service account issues where same password is used across multiple systems, but also where the same password is used across an administrator who also uses it for the regular account.